Om Kriya Babaji Namo. I'd like to introduce you to Babaji's Kriya Yoga. Babaji's Kriya Yoga is a scientific art of perfect God-truth union and self-realization. It consists of a series of techniques which were developed by the founder of Kriya Yoga, Babaji, to bring about an integrated development of yourself in all 5 planes of existence: physical, vital, mental, intellectual, and spiritual. The word Kriya itself means action with awareness, and it's derived from the Sanskrit word karma, which means action with consequence. So we can think of Kriya as an antidote for your karma, which consists of the sum of your habits and conditioning formed by your past thoughts, words, and actions. Kriya is action with awareness, which means that it's both the vehicle to escape your karmic conditioning and the destination. Our goal is to bring awareness, self-realization into all 24 hours of your day. The 5 phases of Babaji's Kriya Yoga start with Kriya Hatha Yoga, for the physical body primarily. It consists of a series of 18 yogasanas selected by Babaji from among the thousands which exist. These postures are taught in a particular way, in stages and in pairs, with the development of awareness in each practice. The goal of the practice is to awaken the subtle energy channels, or nadis, the psycho-energetic centers called the chakras, and their corresponding states of consciousness, to bring about good health, to manage the stress of our life, and to create the ideal conditions by which the physical body can support the more subtle parts of your being in its process of self-transformation and self-realization. The second phase of Babaji's Kriya Yoga is called the practice of Kriya Kundalini Pranayama. And the word Kundalini means your potential power in consciousness. It consists of a breathing exercise which is quite elaborate. It has 6 phases to it, and it's taught in what's called initiation, which is a seminar or a session with a trained and authorized teacher of Kriya Yoga, in which you learn how to activate the Kundalini, which is this latent power and consciousness residing within you. You're going to learn how to circulate this energy through the subtle psycho-energetic centers, the chakras. And in so doing, you're going to awaken their corresponding psychological states. Most of the time, the ordinary person is absorbed in the psychological states associated with fear, insecurity, survival, sexuality, and desire, which correspond to the first 3 chakras in the genital, base of the spine, and abdominal regions. Through this practice of the breathing exercise, you're going to draw this great potential power and consciousness up into the higher chakras. When the heart chakra opens, you begin to experience love and compassion more and more in your life. When the throat chakra opens, more and more creativity. When the third eye chakra, the forehead, opens, more and more intuition. And in the crown chakra, the awareness of the presence of the divine. It's the most potential technique in Babaji's Kriya Yoga. The third phase of Babaji's Kriya Yoga is called Kriya Dhyana Yoga, the scientific art of mastering the mind, or meditation. It's a science because, like the scientific method, it has 4 parts. The hypothesis is the technique itself. The experimentation is done in your own home when you practice. You record your experiences in an notebook like a scientist records, and then you share your experiences with other researchers and come to some conclusions. If it was only a science, however, you become enlightened after learning the techniques. But because your human nature resists, because you're so conditioned by your past, all your habits, we need an art to practice every day to overcome the old conditioning. So you're going to learn to practice 7 different Kriyas of meditation, or dhyana, during the first initiation. It's a wonderful system which covers all the levels of your consciousness. There's 7 techniques corresponding to 7 levels of consciousness. The first level is called the subconscious. And most of the time we are doing what the Siddhas described as dreaming with our eyes open, absorbed in our memories, our desires, our fears, our conditioning. So it's a little bit like going down to the basement of the house, opening up the windows, letting some fresh air in, and letting go of all the dust, accumulated conditioning from our past, our memories, our fears, our traumas, things which have been difficult for us in the past, which continue to direct us in our life. This first meditation technique is the foundational practice, which enables you to let go of the past conditioning. As a result, you begin to see your path more clearly. But your mind likes to wander, a little bit like a dog, without a master. So in the second meditation technique, you're going to learn how to control your mind, how to concentrate, how to stay on your path, how to avoid falling into the ditch on the side of the road. To succeed in any field of life, you need to concentrate well. In the third meditation technique, you'll learn how to see where you want to go. You'll go beyond being a dreamer, and you become a visionary. A visionary remains faithful to their dream. So what's your dream? What is it that you want to accomplish in this life? Perhaps it's just an idea, but too often you allow your fears to suppress it. So this vision of your life is going to become more and more clear as you practice the third dhyana kriya. And you'll follow what's called in yoga your dharma, your mission in life. You'll be inspired by your higher intelligence to follow this vision, to nourish it, and to manifest it in the world for the benefit of so many people. In the fourth meditation technique, you learn how to develop your intellect, which is your reasoning capacity, which is your ability to communicate, to understand, to analyze problems, and to resolve them. In the fifth, it's a wonderful tool to solve so many problems, but you can't solve all of them, unfortunately, with the intellect. Fortunately, you have higher faculties, like intuition, the psychic, and the superconsciousness. Unfortunately, you don't know how to use them. But in the fifth, sixth, and seventh dhyana kriyas, or meditation techniques you'll learn in the first initiation, you'll learn how to tap these sources of inner guidance. And in this way, you'll be able to resolve all the difficulties in your life. You'll be able to discover your highest source of creative intelligence. You'll be able to discover that wisdom self. The third phase of Babaji's Kriya Yoga has to do with the practice of fourth phase of Babaji's Kriya Yoga has to do with what we call Kriya Mantra Yoga, which is the use of sound vehicles of consciousness, or mantras, to awaken your intellect and your intuition. Normally our mind is dominated by repetitive, habitual thoughts. When you begin to repeat a mantra, that mental chatter is replaced by the mantra. And as a result, you create a vortex in which inspiration comes in. And you're able to see things in a new, more creative way, from a new perspective. Also, mantras are words of power. Usually we dissipate our energy through countless trivial thoughts and worries. Doing the mantra, however, you conserve all of that mental energy. So when it comes time to really resolve the problems in your life, not only have you the creative wisdom and inspiration to do so, now you have the mental power to do it, the willpower. The fifth phase of Babaji's Kriya Yoga, corresponding to the spiritual dimension of our being, is called Kriya Bhakti Yoga. And it enables you to develop aspiration, love and compassion. Aspiration is the call of your soul for the Lord itself. It's a kind of spiritual enthusiasm which starts as a small flame, which starts perhaps with an experience, spiritual experience, in which you transcend your ordinary ego-bound consciousness. As you cultivate aspiration, you're calling the Lord to liberate you from the old egoistic perspective. You're calling the Lord for unconditional love, truth, beauty. It can take the form of devotional activities. It can take the form of prayer. It can take the form of deep and profound meditation. But it's essentially turning away from the ego's games and going deep within to your source. As a result, you begin to have more and more spiritual experiences, which are like lights which blast through the curtain of ignorance. The ignorance which now keeps you in darkness. More and more you cultivate aspiration and bhakti and devotion, more and more the experiences come. And finally this curtain of ignorance which now hides you from the Lord falls. And you see the divine everywhere. You experience the presence of the Lord personally and impersonally in each and everything. Babaji's Kriya Yoga is therefore an integral yoga which has as its goal the transformation of yourself at all 5 levels. Its goal is not merely to leave this world and go to a spiritual heaven. It's not merely to have moksha or liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Its goal is transformation of your human existence, physically, vitally, mentally, intellectually, and spiritually. Namaste.